Hey guys, I'm Zakariye Mohamed.
I'm Johnny Tran, and this is our 15 puzzle game project.
So for user requirements, so first we need to create a 15 puzzle game with login and register page with administration role. So for the inputs, we set user account to play the game and able to log in as administrator to transfer to an administrator dashboard and set a game board with multiple background to choose. The output we have 4x4 puzzle with multiple background to choose and with in-game notification and a dashboard to manage the user.
So we split the app into four parts: login, register, game board, screen, and admin dashboard. So the first page is login, register, and then when you log in, you would have to register before you log in. After that, in the game board, it will take you to the game board, and it's an interactive puzzle grid with controls. And then after that, it will take you to the win screen when you win the game, which congratulates you, the player, and offers the option to play again or view the leaderboard. And then the last is the admin dashboard. So in the login register, you will log in with an admin username, and it shows the user content management, game statistics, and dashboard with total number of users in the game.
Okay, so this is all our pages and how we laid it out. So first you have the login register page, and once you log in or register, it'll take you to the game board where you play the game. And once you beat the game ends, and the win screen will pop up. And once this win screen pops up, you can go to the leaderboard, or you can also choose to play again. And then before you could there's a login slash register for the admin to log in and see the dashboard.
So here is our design for the login page and a game page, also the leaderboard. You can see for the login register, you can see the part where you log in either as player or administrator, and you can register as a new player. For the game board, you can see the drop box to select the background and the bottom to choose for the leaderboard and reset the auto game if you want to reset the pattern. And for the game board, you can see like it's being set for fastest time and or the fewest move together to end the game.
So the feature for multiple backgrounds. So we had a drop down to select 5 different backgrounds, random background on page load or refresh. And the background can be changed during the game. Background is scrambled, works when shuffled, and all backgrounds use full path URLs. It provides several background images, at least 4 to choose from. The game should choose a random background on startup and should have a UI by which the player can choose a different image while playing. Host your additional backgrounds on the web server and link to them using full path URLs. There's a drop down menu to the right and it shows you the ones that are preset. And those are the examples of it.
Oopsie.
This is our second feature. It's the end of notification. It displays a you win message, and then there are links to the leaderboard and play again. And below view leaderboard, there's a fun emoji animation. The page is overlaid in light green, and it displays a message score save. And this only happens when you win and the game ends. Also, all interactions are disabled, like you can't shuffle or press the tiles anymore. You want to play again, you gotta press play again. And to the right, you can see the windscreen effects.
And here's the design for administration dashboard. You can see on the top left, there's 3 options like dashboard, user, and game. For a dashboard, you can see the total number of user and total number of game it play and total number of wins and all the average time it takes for all the game. So in the game statistic, you can see the player's username and how long it takes to finish one game and how many moves they take and what day and time they play the game. And for user management, you can see user name and email and the role for that account and what time did they register for that account. For the editing, you can change the username and email and password. You can also change the role for the account. You can change between like user, like the player or administrator. You also can click delete to delete the account. But if you're administrationer, you can't delete your account.
So in our test cases, we had in-game warm screen. You had to change the puzzle image, play and test the tile movement. Test shuffle algorithm is working during the game. And for the database, we had to test the user registration and are working store to the database, test game tracking. And for login register, we had to check if the user was able to transfer to the game board after login and register after completing the game. And the admin able to transfer to the admin dashboard after login. Reliability was important, so we developed all these cases to test all the core areas of our game.
Next is the demo. So first here is the login page. We can test register account first. And here's our game page. You can choose the background in here and shuffles. And here's the time and the move. You'll be count how many moves you take to solve the game. And here you can reset the puzzle. When you win a game, it showed up the in-game navigation. And here's the leaderboard. Go back and you can click play again. And let's go back. We can log in as administrator. Here you can see the dashboard for total user and games, and here's the user. You can edit and change their username, and you're still able to log in. And you can change their role into administrator. And here's the game. You can see I just register the account and it shows the time and how many moves I win a game. And click logout, go back to the login page. We can try the account. I just changed the administration role. But I can just register. You can see we log in back to the administration board. So it's working. And went back to the slide.
Okay. So these are all the files that we use in our project. First, the index.html, that's our login/register page, the page that you start with. And then we have the game HTML, the JavaScript file, and all the styling files. And then we have the leaderboard. And then we have on the bottom three is our files for our admin. Then to the right, we have our PHP folders and our image folder.
In the sprint log, we had to have transparency between all of us to like what we would want to do during the project. So we maintain a detailed sprint log using using a table, as you can see. So each row represents the user story or task complete with the criteria we used and what we did. So what we did for on 723, it says we filled the project proposal, and 725 we progressed on build database, and we tested our data and set login register. On the 27th, we built admin dashboard and game puzzle. On the 29th, we progressed each task and test connection. We also set the login page with admin role to able to log in as admin, and we also progressed each task and test connection, and we helped each other with the presentation PowerPoint so we can create a video to describe our project. So our Scrum benefits, our Scrum really helped us stay on track by breaking stuff down into small parts so we knew what to focus on. We did quick check-ins to keep each other in the loop and fix issues fast. If something had to change, we could switch it up without messing up the whole flow. Everyone had their own role, so no one was confused about what to do. In the end, we got everything done smoothly on time, and the project came out the way we wanted.
So for bigger benefits for me, so like with 30 minutes meeting every 2 days, we can track everyone's progress and adjust our work from that. And last time from last project, we only have 2 people, so we took turn improve upon what's left from each meeting. This time we start by splitting tasks. This gives us less stress and help us focus on our assigned work. Breaking down the large projects into smaller pieces keep us on track and maintain our focus.
Like Winting and Zach said, Scrum really just helped us. For me, it helped our team stay organized. The short meetings kept everyone updated without wasting time, and splitting the work into smaller chunks made it way easier to manage. Overall, Scrum just made things less confusing and just improved the workflow and made the project more doable from start to finish.
So for game.js, we started by declaring grid size and initialize an array of background image URLs. We then grab the reference to critical DOM elements, including the puzzle container, move container, and timer display. And we also had the background selector. This initialize our steps, set up the variables and event bindings that power the rest of our game logic. And we used to set up an empty tiles array, which will later store all the puzzle tiles in the 2D grid format.
So here is the create tile function and update board function. First, on the right side of the page, the create tile function is responsible for setting up the puzzle board. When this function runs, it first clears the board visually with board and the HTML just to make sure we start fresh. Then we create 2D array called tiles to represent our board logically. Basically, we want to check where each tiles go from using coordinates. We route through the board using X and Y to place all the tile, and we leave the very last spot in the bottom right corner empty. That's the spot we use to slide the tile around. Each tile is just a VIU element style to show a piece of the full background image like a pizza piece. We also set some data attributes to check its position and add event listener so the tile responds when you click to hover over it. Finally, we add each tile to the board and call update board to make sure everything shows up in the right position visually. The update board function handles the visual placement of each tile on the screen. It loops through the tile array, and for each tile, it updates its left and top CSS style based its X and Y position. This makes sure every tile appears exactly where it's supposed to go, giving us the square grid layout that matches the logical board. This function is especially useful after shuffling or moving a tile, so visual always match what's happened in the background.
For the next part of the code, we have the try move tile function on the right and the hover check function on the bottom. The try move tile is what makes the puzzle interactive. Whenever a tile is clicked, this function checks if the tile is next to the empty space, either to the left, right, above, or below it. If it is, we go ahead and swap it with the empty space. We do this by updating our tiles array, adjusting the tiles X and Y data attributes, and also updating the empty X and the empty Y variables to reflect the new location of the empty space. We also increment the move count to keep track of how many moves the player has made, and we update that number on the screen. Finally, we call update board to refresh the tiles visually positions, and we call check when to see if the puzzle is solved. And the hover function adds a nice user-friendly touch. When you hover your mouse over a tile, this function checks if that tile can be moved again by checking if it's right next to the empty space. If it is, we add a special class called movable piece to that tile. This class can style the tile with a glow or a highlight effect so the player knows which pieces are allowed to move. It makes the game feel more interactive and helps guide the player visually.
Shuffle function mixes up the puzzle at the start, then it runs a loop 300 times. At each time, it finds a random tile next to the empty space, then moves the tile into the empty spot. This creates a random but solvable puzzle. We make sure to only move the tiles our valid neighbors. After shuffling, we reset the move counter, hide the win banner if it was showing, start the timer, and update the board visually. The move tile silently function is used only during shuffle. It moves a tile into the empty space without updating the score or triggering any animations. It just quietly swaps the title with the empty spot, updates the positions, and keeps the shuffle looking smooth. This lets us shuffle the board behind the scenes without the player seeing each step.
And here's the check when function and reset timer function. The check when function is how the game knows when the player has solved the puzzle. It goes through all the tiles in order and check if the numbers are in the correct spot from 1 all the way to 15. The last spot is left empty on purpose. If everything is in place, the function stops the timer, save saves the player's score and disable all the button and tiles clicks, so the player can't mess with the game with the board anymore. Then it shows the win banner, some confetti and overlay to celebrate the win. Basically, it locks the game and shows the victory screen. The reset timer function handles the game's countdown. It stops any exist timer, reset the game back to zero, reset the game time back to zero, and then starts counting up every second. We use this to check how long the player takes to solve the puzzle, which is part of their final score.
Okay, finally, we have the submit score function. On the bottom, the submit score function sends the player score to the server. It uses fetch to send a post request to a PHP file called submitscore.php that includes the number of moves and the time it took to win. Once it sends the data, it logs a message in the console to confirm the score was submitted. This lets us save player scores for the leaderboard or future use. And then to the right, we have the background select. For the background select, we have a drop-down menu that lets the player pick a background image. When the background is changed, it updates all the tiles to use the new image so the puzzle still looks like one full picture. And finally, on the last lines of the code for game initialization, we use DOM content loaded to make sure the game sets up as soon as the page loads. It creates tiles to build the puzzle and adds a click event to the shuffle button so the player can start the game.
And thank you. That's all of our slides.